Last week, we explored the profound power of attuned listening. Today, I want to explore the power of asking questions that may not have answers. Hannah Arnett wrote, "To lose the appetite for meaning we call thinking and cease to ask unanswerable questions would mean to lose not only the ability to produce those thought things that we call works of art, but also the capacity to ask all the unanswerable questions upon which every civilization is founded." Important matter here. Perhaps our questions may have far more than the power to just civilize us. They can also have an even more powerful power, very much needed if we are to evolve, the power to rewild us. Maria Popova in the Marginalian, in a follow-up to this quote, observes, "Often our deepest questions are our simplest ones, and our wildest questions, the most maddeningly unanswerable ones, are the most resaning." I love that word. I think she just invented it. Most redolent with meaning, full. This is why children's questions are so often portals to the profoundest answers. I'm sure you all have talked to very young children and been astounded at their questions. I know I have. Pablo Neruda. And I mentioned the works of Pablo Neruda last week and his evocative poem, An Ode to Quietude, because we were talking about listening as a poetic epiphany on the art of listening. He also wrote the Book of Questions, channeling 320 unanswerable questions. We're going to read them all. We'll be here till 5. Don't worry. Questions about earthly and cosmic art, about art and life. Let me read that again. Unanswerable questions, questions earthly and cosmic about art and life, dreams and death, nature and human nature, magical realist questions that could have been asked by a child or a sage. Sometimes they blend together. Into his final work of poetry, originally published months before his sudden death. This was the last book that he wrote. His Book of Questions is a stunning bilingual picture book, illustrated with 70 vibrant illustrations by Chilean artist Paloma Valdivia, whose father grew up in the same coastal region that shaped Neruda's boyhood, and whose grandmother was friends with Neruda's sister. Her pictures are described as radiant with colors and textures of the Latin American tapestry. Let's explore a few questions. Keep in mind, or keep a playful, childlike mind, and you will enjoy the exercise, I guarantee it. And no, we're not going to do 230 questions, don't worry. We'll do a few. So why do rocks have so many wrinkles and so many holes? ¿Y para qué tantas arrugas y tanto agujera en la roca? What do you call a flower that flits from bird to bird? Which birds dictate the order of the flock while it flies? ¿Cómo se llama un flor que vuelve de pájaro en pájaro? ¿Qué pájaros dictan el orden de la bandada cuando vuela? Do you hear explosions of yellow in the middle of fall? If we use up all the yellow, with what do we make bread? And what did the rubies say faced with the juice of the pomegranates? Oye, es el medio de otoño de nociones amarillas. Si se termina el amarillo, ¿qué se vamos a hacer al pan? ¿Y qué dijeron los rubias ante el juego de las granadas? And when I saw that word granadas, that's the word for pomegranates. I learned in a Spanish lesson the reason the Spanish refer to pomegranates as granadas. And I should have had a picture, but think of the shape of a pomegranate, round with a little funny thing at the top. It looks like a grenade. That's ergo that word. What irritates volcanoes so much that they spit fire, ice, and fury? I love this next one. How many questions are in a cat? ¿Qué cosa irrita a los volcanes y escupan fuego, frío y furia? ¿Cuántas preguntas tiene un gato? Is four for everyone? When a prisoner recalls the light, is it the same light that illuminates you? How old is November? El for es for para todos? ¿Son todos los 7 iguales? Cuando el preso piensa en la luz, ¿es la misma que te ilumina? So how do roots know they must rise up to the light and later greet the air with crowds of colorful flowers? ¿Y cómo saben las raíces que deben subir a la luz y luego saludar el aire con tantas flores y colores? Why do trees hide the splendor of their roots? ¿Por qué los árboles esconden el esplendor de sus raíces? Where is the center of the sea? Why don't waves break there? And could it be that the earth is briefly borrowing the sea? Won't we have to return it with its tides to the moon? Oh, I love that question. ¿Dónde es el centro del mar? ¿Por qué no van allí los alas? ¿Y no será presentado el mar por un corto tiempo a la tierra? ¿No tendréis que devolverlo con sus mareas a la luna? With which stars do they keep talking, the rivers that have no mouth? I think I'll read the Spanish right after the sentence. Con las estrellas siguen hablando los ríos que no desembocan. If rivers are all freshwater, where does the sea get its salt? Si todos los ríos son dulces, which means sweet, ¿de dónde saca sal el mar? Good questions. Where can you find a bell that rings inside your dreams? ¿Dónde encontrar una campaña que suene adentro de sus sueños? Where does the stuff of dreams go? Does it pass into the dreams of others? ¿Dónde van las cosas del sueño? ¿Se van sueño de los otros? Is there room for a few thorns? Asked the rosebush. ¿Hay sitio para unas espinas? Le preguntaron al rosal. What news bursts forth from the leaves of those first days of spring? ¿Qué cuentan de nuevo las hojas de la reciente primavera? What knowledge is in the bee? We're to figure out its itinerary. ¿Qué letras conoce la abeja para saber su itinerario? How many bees are in a day? ¿Cuántas abejas tiene el día? I think this is the last one. Is there anything in the world sadder than a motionless train and the rain? ¿Hay algo más triste en el mundo que un tren inmovía en la lluvia? Why do silkworms spend their lives dressed in such rags? ¿Por qué vivan rags? ¿Por qué vivan tan harpientos todos los gusanos de seda? Why are unanswerable questions important? Rigid logical structure is brittle and resistant. We try to put the world into a box. It doesn't work very well. It makes us unforgiving and rigid. And it makes us think we know everything. We don't. Things that cause us to pause and just appreciate the universe expand us. Asking unanswerable questions allow us to enter the realm of enlightened contemplation. Just like in Alice in Wonderland, Alice learned a lot.